What is awakening? I mean, what is that true awakening that very few speak and very few choose not to speak about? Well, awakening is when everything makes sense. Everything makes sense. But it's not a head sense. It's not an idea that all the things that mind debated about, negotiated with, argued about, tried to resolve make sense. No. We say that this is a dream when you awaken. You realize it's a dream. Just like in the morning when you're waking up, that what took place in your presence was not reality. You were not out of the bed, you were dreaming. So what happens to the dream when you wake up? Does it become reality? And this is a bit for you. If you are not fully awake, you will not understand what this next statement makes. When you awaken, the dream is overcome. I'm awake. I am awake. But reality, and the idea of what reality is also overcome. So everything making sense is, this is not a dream. And this is not reality. But the mind dreamed it could be reality and dreamed it could be dreaming. So what is it, you see? What is it to that awakened one? What is this? If it's not a dream and it's not reality, it is simply whatever it is. You see? That's the freedom and liberation. The mind accepts. Your mind accepts. External minds, they go on searching, go on inquiring, go on seeking. They're not doing any harm. You're not doing any harm to the world when you're thinking. You're not doing any harm when you go to your work. You're not doing any harm when you pay your bills and give your partner birthday cards and all these normal experiential things. They're not doing any harm. They're not affecting the dream, nor are they affecting reality. So it's okay to go on dreaming. And it's okay to believing that this is reality. It matters not. Because all that's taking place for you is the mind is working. The mind is working effortlessly to serve you. Not to show you something, to reveal you something, to serve you. Whatever you want, you get. The idea of what you want and what you get is an egoistic idea. Okay, I want a bigger house than what I've got. The natural mind has no idea what you're speaking about, you know. It wants to keep you dry, safe, and it will do anything in its any possibility to do that. And that's the external mind. That's why we have services and social welfare. And I want to keep you safe. I want to put you in a house. I don't want you roaming the streets. I want to keep you dry, safe, and whatever. But you know all this, you know all the stuff. The mind is always keeping you informed of what's taking place. But to the awakened one, the mind goes to sleep. It has actually been paid a ransom, millions and millions and millions of pounds, to say thank you very much. You did so well. I love you so much. Now go take a vacation. So it is unable. The person is, or the form is unable to say this is a dream or this is reality, because there's no mind to make that decision on its behalf. And it's what lies behind the form that is unable to make these decisions. And Christ calls it rebirth. It's a rebirth of the mind. The mind has been transcended. It hasn't been killed off. It has been faced up to. And rather than a big duel, there's a negotiation. And mind says, I can leave you now. This I that has been haunting you with the purpose of serving you can leave you now. And off it goes. And it's over there. So when someone calls you your name, Graham, over there. But you respond because you invite ego mind back in for that moment. And say, speak to them. I don't know what they're speaking about. You speak to them. Your vacation's just short-lived. Come, have, and then off you go again. Into the beautiful Bahamas Islands. Awakening is when you realize that the mind is serving a purpose for you. When everything makes sense. Let's cover that one. Does war make sense? Well, there's no mind to understand what war and peace is. You see? Now you can say, well, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be unable to speak about what. No. Ego mind. Tell them about war and peace. There's a separation, you see. Non-duality is the point that when the mind is transcended and there's only you left, and you are this world without identities. Yeah? What do you prefer? I love it all. Who is your favorite? I love them all. Because you cannot see singularity anymore. And this can be dangerous, you see. For one who knows that, can come and say, well, you know what? Let's take half of this one's belongings. Are you all right with that? Yes. Take what's yours. Everything is everything. You take one thing, you take everything. You take nothing, you take everything. So ego mind, come. What are they doing? And ego chases them away. May not be your ego mind, maybe another ego mind on your defense. Everything making sense means whatever word comes up, it's okay, because they are words. When the actual physical action of war takes place, what can one do? We can either defend, but we'll never attack, you see? And to defend is just to hope that you're in the right place at the right time with the right weapon. And if not, you transcend this life. Sounds very immature, very primitive, very Neanderthal. But it's very simple, it's very basic. And if everyone was awakened, there would be no such thing as war. There would be no war. And if there was, it would be based on lack of food and unwilling to share. But if everyone was awakened, we wouldn't be thinking about sharing because there's no knife to cut the pie. There is only one pie. Let's all eat from the same pie. If the pie is not big enough, we get another pie. Together, collectively, we source another pie. Because a whole pie cannot be broken. And there's no need to source, you see. Again, these are ideas, these are concepts, these are ego mind debating and discussing ways of resolving things, ways of improving things. Making sense, everything makes sense, means simply this. Think of the word sense. We are born with 5 senses. We are able to see, speak, hear, taste, touch. All these senses make sense because they merge into one whole cake. Making sense means these senses are only one sense. And this sense is truth when it becomes one and not defragmented, segmented, individualized into sight, touch, hearing, taste, and sound. They're not fragmented. This sense collectively is one sense. And truth is that. And we call it the essence of living. There's not a me living life. There's life living life. What can be broken, you see? What can be born? What can end? Life can end in its wholeness, and none of this, even the dream or the reality, whatever you think it exists as, even that what it is neither dream nor reality, is no longer. But will the universe ever, the cosmos, galaxies, everything that holds life in it, will it end forever? It goes round and round. That's what you do. That's what your mind does. It takes you on journeys round and round, spiraling away. Body experiencing death. Yeah, next one. You don't like that. Mind does not like that because it's valuing that sleepless, conditioned, informative program it has become. There's no such thing as birth and death. There's no such thing as man and woman. There's no such thing as this or that. There is no such thing as pain or pleasure. These are man-made ideas and names and identities of the same thing, life. And to the one who loves identities and aiming and searching and organizing and constructing, well, I don't want that. That's boring. But that's what's taking place. You see, the boredom is taking place. Living life is everything just being as it is, boring to your mind. But you're just making something out of it. You're just passing your way, filing your nails, unable to really engage in what is truly taking place. But that's okay. Anyone that's fully awakened can still relive subtly the past. Was it a painful exercise? No. There's no There is no substance to the past. There is no substance to the future. And even the present moment only holds a substance of essence, our awareness, they call it, our love, our beingness. And Osho comes up and Papaji come up with the wonderful words of isness, nothingness, emptiness, blissfulness, here-ness, now-ness, consciousness. Which one is different? Which one is singular? They're words, nouns, consonants all built up to make something. I prefer this to that, because this and that are spelled differently. Man and woman are spelled differently. Pain and pleasure are spelled differently. And they are experienced differently. Does a man experience any differently from a woman? Does a man not have feminine and masculine attributes? Does a woman not have feminine and masculine attributes? Does pain always come excruciating? Or sometimes, I don't mind this pain. It's quite pleasurable. And the same. The pleasure turns into horror. There is no difference, you see. That's all that takes place through this awakening. It seems negative to the ego mind, because the ego mind is a worker, but it's a lazy worker. It's that worker that at work says, yes, I'm away to do this, this, and this, and this, and this, and I'll be back in 2 hours, And the rest of the staff look out the window, and he's down there, or she's down there having a cup of tea and smoking a cigarette and on the phone, yeah. And we've all played that part. Some more than others. But that's just an example of what the ego mind is. It loves to plan and organize and then no action. That's that thinking mechanism, that mind. And that's what awakening is. You wake up to this mind. You wake up to thinking. Thoughts come. They don't even scratch the surface. From others, a thought may come. I hate you so bad. And the awakened one goes, wonderful. I don't know what they mean, but it's not really taking place. There's nothing physically taking place. There's nothing attaching. There's nothing that I can associate with because I don't know what the words mean. I don't know what intent means. You see this I over there has not been called in. If you call it in, you may react. What do you mean? Taking that personal. But when you don't call in the ego mind, you say, oh yes. And you go on your merry way. And there's not a thought, a wasted moment of this beautiful living existence that invades whatever I am. Everything makes sense. What is the point for the awakened one to try and resolve things that are unresolvable? People say a virus exists. Ego, what is this virus? Oh yes. And then it explains to you what is taking place. And you say, oh, it must be terrible to get this virus. It must be terrible to live in this world of evasion, of trying to resolve, prevention, control. And when it affects whatever surroundings I may live in, I will call you back in and we will fight it together. But until now, thank you. back to the Bahamas for you. And you become that sage. You're not ignorant. You have no way of attaching to what is serious and unserious for the mind. But there is an option to call an ego and say, okay, I'm really, really bored now. I'm bored with just this wonderful sunrises and sunsets and nature and being able to just get up in the morning and not have any headaches and pain and pleasure. And some say, are you celibate? I don't know what that means, you see. It's the not knowing that liberates what you are. It's that detachment from that mind that wants to continue to give you information, to continue to keep it's not you the information for, it's the mind. The ego needs to give information to itself to clarify that it still exists. It needs to be on the stage with the rest of the actors when the ego mind is a non-existing entity. It's the shadow of the universe. It is the shadow I. It is the shadow mind. It is the shadow life. It is the shadow. It is the dream. Pure mind will say, no, wake, dream over, reality. But some who experience this true original state, which is inexplainable, goes beyond this idea that this is even reality. There is nothing, no word that can fix what this is. So therefore, everything is as it is. And there's no need to try and discover anything else. But the needs die because ego goes over there. The ego is the needer, the desirer. Ego came to save itself by taking all the desires. Imagine you had 1,000,000 desires. I want a perfect partner. I want a big house. I take all these desires, right, and merge them into one desire. I want to be free. But I'm prepared to give up all these desires on the basis that I will be eternally free. I will be eternally free. Who can do that, you see? Who can give up and surrender everything that mind thinks is possible and is actually experienced? Are you willing to give up your house then? We're not speaking about physical things. We're speaking about needs and desires. Whatever you have now cannot be taken away from you. Even through awakening, enlightenment, spiritual Christ meeting, godly meeting, universal meeting, out-of-body experiences, when you have to return, and when you return, everything is as it is. You've just been away, out of your mind. So who can give up these desires, these thoughts? Thoughts, millions of thoughts that hold you prisoner. I want to be free. How much do you want to be free? Says this desiring package. Before we tape ourselves up and explode, you're getting a few last chances. How much do you want to be free? I want to know what I am, who I am, where I am, why I am here. Where am I really here as? What am I looking from as? And where? Give me some information. That's the desire. I want to be free to know what I am, who I am, where I am. I want to know something about why I'm here. And then, once you explain that to me, you can go. That's the moment, you see. That's the moment. And the moment will reveal itself. But how long can you continually hold on to this freedom? And who can hold on to this freedom? Because all your identities, your personage and ego is over there. How long will it take for you to be bored? Live in pure Buddha nature. Live in Christ consciousness, transcendental consciousness, God consciousness, whatever you want to call it. How long can you remain as Krishna, Shiva, Buddha, Ramana, Papaji? How long can you remain as Osho without a need to speak and share and call ego back in, to verbalize? Because this is ego verbalizing something from the one inside that cannot speak, cannot judge, cannot analyze, cannot value, cannot experience with a mind. Body can experience, but body does not know the difference between pain and pleasure. Mind comes in and says, that's not good. Body hurts. That's good. Body's feeling good today. All of this is mind, you see. To think that awakening takes place is mind. All of this video is based on mind trying to describe and explain the inexplainable, that inner beingness that stretches limitlessly. Because the mind has boundaries. The mind has to have boundaries. It creates this body. This is a boundary, and you are within it, or you're appearing as if you're within it. When the mind goes, you go everywhere. And you're still dancing and eating at the table with your children and your wife, but you are around them. You are everywhere. Science will tell you it's some sort of brain chemical, whatever. Good. Because that's also another idea, another concept. Singing around the table is another idea. And all of this is ideas and concepts. But when you awaken to the ideas and the concepts and the thoughts as being just energetic vibrational things, and that all this is made up from mind and thoughts, something has to know that without judgment, without analysis, without value, without measurement, without information, without intelligence. Something has to know that. And something has to know that it has to call in mind to try and explain that. I know this makes no sense, and you know what? Maybe it's a pointless exercise sitting trying to explain the unexplainable. But it is true, totally achievable to experience no viruses, to eliminate virus, to eliminate war, to eliminate peace, to eliminate all the things that the mind has sides: war, peace, pain, pleasure, happy, sad, right? Eliminate them all by everyone awakening. And that what remains is beyond pain and pleasure, war and peace, awakening in reality, this and that. It's not an even more negative thing. It is plus, because everything merges and becomes one pure life. Pure. Making sense. In the most eloquent essence. The most mystical, spiritual, conscious life that is taking place right now. And everything else is ideas and concepts and practices and methods and ways and pasts and futures and opposing states that fluctuate back and forth. There's no two moments ever been the same in your life. Not two moments identical. Even now, the blood is moving, changing. Even now, the hair is moving, changing. Even now, the skin is moving. Even now, the atmosphere is moving, changing. This earth moving, changing. The wind moving, changing. The nature moving, changing. And we look for the stillness. And we realize that the stillness does not exist. But when it is realized, the movement is realized that it also is non-existing. There's nothing taking place. Nothing taking place individually. This body is not moving its hands individually. The whole is moving as one whole thing. There's no difference between this hand moving and the wind moving outside. There's no disconnection. It's one whole dance. One whole spirit. One whole essence. One whole sense. We have this idea, the mind has this idea that I am an individual and that this God is one whole thing. And I'm part of this God sometimes, but sometimes I'm disconnected. Where the hell is he when I need him now? Yeah, that's the mind. It's lost. Because the mind cannot replicate truth. The mind can only act and exaggerate and try and reflect truth. But it's the shadow on the ground of your body trying to reflect the real body. There are no eyes in it. There are no mouth in it. There is just a shape. And it's not even a true shape. It wiggles about, when the sun, depending on the sun, where the sun is, That's the mind. That's the ego, wiggling about, trying to replicate what you are, God. Maybe that's a bad word to use, God. But whatever it is, whatever the voice throws at you, for this one it was one moment. All of this is one moment. There is nothing existing outside of this one moment. There's nothing existing separate from this one moment. There's nothing else other than this one moment. And everything that the mind wants to make of it will make something of it within this one moment. It is infinite, limitless. It is everywhere, nowhere. It is pain, it is pleasure. It is sense, it is no sense. It is awakening, it is non-awakening. It is dream, it is reality. Whatever you want to make of it, it just laughs and says, whatever you want to make of it. That what I am is fine. You're just playing about, having fun, having games. And awakening, before awakening, games, same games, different flavor. There's no losers when you're awake. There's no winners. But before, there are losers and winners. And then therefore there is anger and jealousy and envy and all these sins that you believe exists. Nothing takes place in awakening in the physical sense. The eyes do not open further. Oh, God, I'm truly awake. You don't speak any louder. There's a shift in mind, a massive, massive shift that is infinite, but it appears about this size within you. That little seed within your core is reborn. That whole fictitious shadow ego seed that reflects what it wants to take place dies. It's gone. But it's not dead, you see, it's over there. Always called back in. Anyway, the whole thing is one. There is only one. And it's great to have a mind to make you feel singular and make you feel lonely and make you feel happy. It's great to have that mind. It's not an awakening one will never say, "Oh, you need to move into this domain. You know, whatever you want to do, you have to do." There was no choice from this one, but there was choice. Dissatisfaction with war and peace and hatred and dissatisfaction that this person could not do nothing about it. It faced up to itself and says, "I'm a loser. Who am I that is this loser? Who is looking in this mirror? Who are you that is fake, that cannot even make one single difference in this segmented world? Then I don't want you anymore." There's a very risky point at that, because that "don't want you anymore," what are you talking to, the body or the mind? That's the difference between a fatal moment and an awakening moment. You're always speaking to the mind. You're never speaking to your body. The mind is always speaking to itself. So if you come to that point of depression, anxiety and everything, and you hate yourself, you don't hate your body. You can do nothing without this body. Whether you're awake or not awake, this body is absolute. It's absolute. You don't get a body without being something great to earn this body. So don't take it lightly, but be light within it. You understand that? Be light. Be light. And be the light that Christ speaks about. Be the light within the body. Face up to the mind. I don't like you, mind. I don't like you, mind. Who are you, mind? Who is this I that pretends to be something other than what it is? That's the best teaching you can have. Don't fight against bodies, and do not fight against your own body. Fight against your mind. Face up to it and say you're an imposter. Leave the premises. How do you do that? Face up to it. Face up to this head. All the sensation, all war and peace, everything is created by this head. This head. And this head is important. But you've forgotten about here. And here. It's a three-way deal. Ego, pure mind, truth. Center of the body. Truth lies here. Don't stop here. But stop here. It's better than being up here. So maybe that's all the teaching in one whole thing. What this speaker or whatever I am can really say about this is it's absolutely impeccably pure, and you don't have to move a muscle, but muscles can move, and you don't have to think a thought, but thoughts can come and go, and you don't have to try and improve this creation or this creation, but creativity comes and goes. You don't have to aim for higher, superior intelligence because you're wisdom right now. You are wise. And that's the biggest compliment any being can pay another being. You are so wise. You have no idea how wise you are. But don't look for an idea to find the wisdom that you are, because the idea will appear as intelligence and mind and discovery and inquiry and searching and looking and failing and succeeding and running and walking and losing and winning. Intelligence incorporates what wisdom is broken up. Be wise, be whole, be one. Be here. Where is here? What is here? Not look for what is here. What is this place of here-ness, of now-ness, of isness, of nothingness, of emptiness, of consciousness? What is this place that is here? Awareness, lovingness, kindness, emptiness. When you're here, whatever you are, cannot be untouched, cannot be touched, cannot be untouched, cannot be discovered, cannot be undiscovered. Deepak Chopra calls omnipotent, omnipresent. Be here. Not on YouTube listening to this, whatever I am. Not in this chair that you sit in. Be here. Here is everywhere in the moment. In this one infinite moment that the monks and the Buddhists chant every day. But as a human, we cannot truly experience it because we have a stopping, starting body, a coming and going body. Stop. Stop. And it is the stopping between the ohms, between the thoughts, between the breaths, where there's abyss. And one is awake. One is awake to the whole one that one always was. So I'll leave you with that. And I'll leave you with this life. This life, don't try and improve it. Don't try and make something out of it. Don't try and keep it. Don't try and lose it. Don't try and change it. Don't try and love it. Don't try and share it. Just be it. Be it that it is. Not you, not I, not me. Be it that what it is. Trying will always bring you to face up to another trying. And trying will destroy that what we are here to taste. But over trying will bring you to the wall of ego, the fear. Don't back away at this point. You face up to it. Face up to that mind. Within you. Always within you. Don't try and face up to other minds, other ego minds. Let them deal with their own life individually. They are also one, asleep. So wake up. Wake up. Let consciousness do its thing. That's what it's doing every day. It's standing, hovering over you. Some call it spirit. Some call it God. Some call it light. Some call it love. But it's always hovering over you. Eyes fixed on you. The one within. Standing. Protecting guard. Waiting for you to catch a glimpse of it. But you're always somewhere else. Looking for things to try and improve. And all the time, the mirror is within you. So, namaste. Be kind. Be loving. By being here. Don't do anything other than be here. Don't hang on to any word, any attachment, any association. Experience it. Let it pass and be here. Emptiness comes. The voice of God comes. Experience. Fall in love with it. Let it go and be here. Every moment returning to this place of here-ness, this place of nowness, this place of beingness, presence, awareness, all words bringing you back here. Namaste all. I love you.